Welcome to Edessa the Dark Crusades. This particular meeting takes place in the top floor of Omar Shadid's shop, if you will. It's a place where kindred can meet and discuss things without the overt prying eyes and ears of those who do not need to know, and maybe those that want to know. Inside the meeting place, a large table, of course, and inside is Lady Julia of the Gangrel, and she is meeting with Irene Iris, the young one of the La Sombra. What they will discuss, well, let's see, as Irene begins her discussion.
Yep, Irene has a few hours to herself and goes over to Omar's place of business and the top floor of that place. She just hopes to find a couple of people that she knows and actually finds the place rather empty, save for one person that she does not know. She'll make her way to this woman, and well, since she figures that she will definitely be the youngest of, well, basically any canine walking the city, she'll curtsy. Good evening, my lady.
Good evening to you, my dear. Please, have a seat. It seems that your clan's meeting room is rather small, it seems. She kind of gives a coy smile a bit. Perhaps uh, they are busy with things as the Sambra do.
Yes, I was hoping to find Omar here, but he is, well, busy with a customer. Can actually, I think if we would be quiet, we would hear him shouting from downstairs.
Hmm.
May I have the
Yes,
pleasure of your name?
I am Lady Julia de la Tortega of Gangra.
I see.
And she kind of gets up and she kind of she doesn't curtsy as you do. She does more of a manly kind of bowing to you, like a knight would, and you can tell by the attire that she wears that she uh, is knightly. It's kind of unheard of for a woman to be wearing uh, armor in such a way, but she is.
Mhm. Yep, Irene's eyes will kind of glide over the armor, just, looking it over. She won't say anything about it.
You'll notice on the armor itself there is kind of above the right chest, kind of where kind of where the heart would be essentially. There is a painted uh, image, much like you see in her picture over here. There is yellow and red kind of a shield, and two hatchets are kind of painted onto it. And she actually has a hatchet uh, kind of sheathed onto her uh, under her belt.
Irene will make a note of all of this,
You
and will make a very small curtsy again.
you are Irene, are you not?
Yes, my lady, I am Irene Argyris, the chatter of Celine Alexandres of Clan Sombra.
She nods at this. Negasi has told me many things about you. Do not worry, my dear. Nothing illicit of any sort. He is not that type of man, but he has waxed poetically of your beauty. He is.
Ah,
She herself kind of chuckles a bit at it. He has, well, a man like Nagasi, when he has an eye for something, he always attempts to uh, he always attempts to catch it for himself. He is like a he's like a thief within he's like a thief within the palace. No matter what the most prettiest jewels he has, if he finds one that he particularly wants, he'll risk everything to get it.
oh dear. You. If I were still mortal, I would be blushing right now. I am sure Lord Nagashi gave me too much credit.
Perhaps. But you would not be here, you would not be in this world if you did not have something about you that is interesting. Something, it could be connections, or it could be your very self. Do not sell yourself so short, my dear. You may be young, yes, but so was I. So was Nagasi, and she kind of extends her hand a bit. So was your sire. Speaking of which, there have been rumors that she has vanished from the city, gone in the night, as it were. Is that true? And she kind of quirks her eyebrow at you as if she's hoping to hear the answer from your lips.
Irene is silent for a few seconds as she's thinking. She has indeed left the city.
Hmm. My dear, please forgive me for what I am going to say. It is. She kind of holds her mouth a bit as if she's unsure that she should say it, but she's going to say it. A sire who abandons her child. Well, then perhaps she is unworthy of having one in the first place.
It is. It is not for me to judge. Well, those who are my elders, especially not my sire. I I keep faith and hope that she will return and that this is a test to see how well I am faring on my own in the city.
She nods at this. One can only hope. And from what I can tell, my dear, I think you will do fine. You are young, but you are a Lasambra. You know you have a right, a duty, if you will, to shape things within your favor. That is something that I can respect. If only if only my primogen, my sire, would be so welcoming of such things. However, he dislikes the city. I do not necessarily blame him for this, but my dear, I would like a favor of you, if possible.
If it lies within my power, I will do whatever I can to assist you.
She smiles at this and she actually gets up from her seat and walks a little bit closer to you. There is a idea that myself and Legacy wish to do. You know, my dear, that there are not many gangrel within the city. It has been kept that way
Yes.
because of our primogen. He feels that the city is a corruption, that those who cannot survive outside of its walls should not exist. Of course, as you can tell, myself and Nagasi work within the city. And there are those. And she kind of looks about as if she is trying to make sure that no one's listening. There are those who would attempt to cause disorder within the city for their own gain.
Cause disorder in the city. Are you talking about other Canaanites?
She
Or
nods at this. Yes, my dear. Tell me, what do you think of the Tremere?
Hmm, I have heard little about them. I have had the dubious pleasure of speaking to one of them at my first Elysium. But that has been my only interaction with them so far. I know they guard their territory well and don't let any Canaanite into it really. But I have also heard that if you are aware of the some of the murders that has happened in this city, they also happened in their domain. So they are not as all-seeing and all-knowing as they hope to be or pretend to be.
She nods at this. Indeed, my dear. These mages, these. She kind of bites her lip as she says this. These usurpers of the blood, they are far more dangerous than our prince believes. Or perhaps he does and does not move. However, if by any chance you can find out something for me, anything you can of the Termir's movements in the city, who they are talking to, allying with, well, then you would have a very important and powerful ally in that, wouldn't you? She smiles a bit as she says that.
I
I
can apologies, please.
I can assume, of course, that the other Lasambra, perhaps they feel the same as myself, that these Tremere, these dangerous kindred, and she uses kindred in this term is kind of scathing because she thinks for a fact that the Tremere are not truly kindred. They are usurpers of the blood. They are not true kindred. She says, perhaps, my dear, we can have both of our clans aligned with a particular interest, which is to safeguard the city, protect it from these mages who do who knows what within their domains. Who knows what dangers they could be bringing into the very city in this desire for whatever it is that they commit. Surely, my dear, Ulrich would feel the same way, being that he was the former baron of this place. He feels a connection, feels a need to protect this place. Perhaps you can talk to him, convince him to talk with me, or to my sire. I will convince him to return to the city so that discuss things. But you, my dear, and she kind of puts the metalled glove under your chin. But you, my dear, you are the middleman in this. Ulrich is somewhat a tough man to talk to, but you are of his clan. You are a pretty, sweet girl. If you convince him to talk to us, he will talk. And she smiles at you.
I can see what I can do. Lord Ulrich is a very busy man, of course, and does not always have time for, well, the little persons, as you put it.
And she chuckles a bit. Yes, my dear, you are little. Yes. But that means that you have greater opportunities to grow. Ones like myself, we are stuck within our ways. We are hoarders of what we own. But you are young. You will grow strong. You will be able to take what it is that you need. Understand that.
I said I will see. I will see what I can do. Um, Perhaps in exchange for a little favor.
She smiles
Is
at
that
this. She smiles at this as you say that. Now you're thinking like a clan, like a kindred, my dear.
oh,
Please, what is it that I, Lady Julia, can do for you?
honestly, it is nothing too big. It is just to satisfy my own curiosity. I have never seen before, not in my life nor after, a woman wearing armor as proudly as you do. I feel there is a story behind that, and I am curious.
She nods at this and says, when I was not in Edessa, I lived in España, Spain. My husband was a lord of a particular part of land, Aragon, as it is called. When the Moors, she says Moors very uh, kind of disgusted. They came to my city. My husband and his men attempted to barter with them to hopefully send them upon their way, but there was treachery. They killed my husband and his men, leaving their bodies to rot. The women of the city, they feared that they would be taken as slaves, be defiled by these bastard men. I would not be such a victim. I gave the women of my city ultimatum. If they wish to avenge their husbands and their sons' lives, they would pick up weapons that they could find. They would charge these men and destroy them completely. If they did not, then I would kill them myself, so that they would remain pure in the eyes of God. Every single woman who was able picked up sword, axe, hatchet, and we went out as a conquering force, and we killed the men who killed our husbands and our sons and our brothers. I personally took great pleasure in slowly cutting the head of the man who killed my husband, and we put their heads upon pikes, so that any more who dared try to invade my city would know what would happen. It is that veracity and our dedication to protect our own, which is why this banner is upon my armor. It is known as the Order of Hatchet. Women, brave and courageous. It is a symbol of that. There are, of course, many men here within the city who would see it stripped from me. But before they would touch me, they would lose their arm. And she again presses the into her chest, as if it is like almost as if it's like a holy ornament, something of luck upon herself. Does that suffice, my dear Irene?
And see, Signora Julia, it is a incredible story. And it suffices my curiosity. My curiosity is
She smiles. Good. My dear, you may not be like me, but you have your abilities. Use them to your advantage. Ulrich will listen. I am quite certain of this. And if you need of me or of Nagasi, simply ask, and we will provide. Not only
you
for
are
yourself.
both too kind. I see.
She
Thank you.
She smiles as you say that. She seems rather warm to you. Uh, Now, my dear, is there anything else that I can do for you? Perhaps she thinks for a moment. Do you walk the nights alone, my dear?
I do indeed. Although
She she actually takes out uh, a dagger. It's a pretty nice looking one. It's not super long. It's about the size of of a knife, like a modern knife, and she gives that to you, and she says, "Put that upon your person, and if a man tries to touch you, stab him in the throat with it. Do not let any man, even if he is a Christian man, do not let them touch you if you do not desire it."
There is no one who has been able to resist me when I told them to stop. But I do thank you for your gift, and I will keep it.
As the two of you get a little bit closer, if you will, uh, there is another figure comes into the meeting place. Uh, this man, and upon seeing him, Julia's face kind of contorts. She she looks as if she's trying to hide it, but you can tell fairly much that she is unhappy with seeing this man. And she says to you, "We will discuss things later, my dear." And she uh, leaves the meeting place, and this man,
Oh,
the man, oh,
Senora Julia.
yes, my dear.
She will call her in Spanish. She will say in Spanish, as she does have that language. I needed to check it. Is there a way for me to contact you?
She nods and she says to her in Spanish, uh, talk to talk to the Falcon. You will know who they are." And with that, she uh, leaves the meeting area, and Azir sits himself upon the chair and smiles at you. "Ah, my dear, you are Irene of the Lysandra. Truly, an honor to be in the presence. I am Azir, Primogene of the Bruja." And he he kind of studies your face to see if that changes, like your face or anything of that nature.
Um, her face. She will keep everything in check. Like she will still have her pretty smile and batting her eyelashes a bit as she curtsies, but it's all just like perfect. Little, maybe a little too perfect.
He he kind of just nods a bit. Perhaps he does that is going on, but he does not wish to discuss it. Simply says, "My dear Irene, there is something that I would wish to ask of you." And he speaks in Arabic for someone to come in. And have you met this character before? I don't know. You see a young man.
Don't think so.
Okay, you see a young man dressed
Oh,
in uh, these robes. As you see, he is rather nervous looking. "Lady Irene, this is my child. Adu, he is like you. He is young. I would ask of you a favor, if possible. He is rather new to the ways of kindred within the city. He is perhaps one who focuses more upon his books than he does upon his interactions. Being that you are a fledgling such as him, I would like for you to talk with him, to discuss things with him. Allow him to be more comfortable. And if you are in need of anything, he will serve you. But do not think that he is a lowly servant. He is a humble one, if at that. And Adu simply has the robe, the turban upon his head. It's actually kind of covering his face as if he is rather nervous, almost as if he's uh, kind of wishing he wasn't there.
Irene um, will bow to the primogen of the Bruja. Um, he can see that she finds the request perhaps a little odd. Like basically, she's thinking, aren't there any members of your own clan that can take care of a fledgling? But she wouldn't judge it. At least not out loud. She's only judging silently, and she'll nod. I can, if you wish, I can. We could talk. Yes, and she'll walk over to the other fledgling and is gonna give a small curtsy and holds out her hand. Good evening.
Adu
I am. Hmm?
shakes your hand. He shakes your hand rather quickly, and again he kind of returns it.
My name is Arina Giris. I am of Clan La Sombra.
I am Adu. I am Abdu of Bruja. Yes. Please, how do the knights treat you? They, well, I hope.
As well as can be given the circumstances. Why don't you walk with me? We can
He he
talk a little.
he does at this, and he gets up uh, and he waits for you to move. Azir simply smiles at the two of you, as if it is a father who is seeing his son take a girl out upon a date, basically. And he simply says to the two of you, "Do take care in the city. You never know. Though I am certain that I am certain that the two of you will be more than safe."
I am sure indeed. I shall she'll guide Adu like outside and just goes to to in the direction of the bazaar and just kind of leading him around as she's asking, so how long have you been? Well, she makes sure that she's keeping an eye out for like any passing by mortals that have might be a bit too nosy.
Of course. I'll just roll that if my thing will work. Oh, my Discord is froze. Oh, nope, there it goes. It just takes a while, like everything else. In any case, you are lucky. We are incredibly lucky, as there are no in the particular area that you're at. There's a lot of people kind of in the outskirts. You're kind of in an area where there's not many people about. Uh, so there is no one around that doesn't need to hear, basically.
That is very good. So yeah, when she makes sure that there is in fact, like you said, no one around, she'll just kind of lean against the wall, just looking at like into the distance and how long have you been part of your clan, a part of our
It,
society?
A few years.
Uh,
The 3 years. My my father he wishes me to uh, get a little stronger so that I may venture out upon my own. But he kind of looks at the ground for a moment. I am unsure of it. Uh, Miss Irene, uh,
mhm.
what were you before the before you came to this city?
I my father was a nobleman, not too far from Athens. I was his youngest daughter. I had four older sisters and one younger brother.
He nods at this. I was a healer. I He kind of stops for a moment. Where I was from, only a select few could be seen as healers. The gods, they blessed you with these abilities to heal. I was one of those. I grew to pity the people that suffered from ailments, the many of which reputed to be of dark spirits and evil creatures. But that is where my passion lied, was in the healing of these people, healing of their minds and their hearts.
That must have been a great honor.
It was. But my sire believed there was more to me than simply these hands. He believed I had he believed that I had a sort of air about me that I would work towards something instead of simply being a healer for people. And such I was born again and brought here. I have seen I have seen the ways that this city has treated many of the ill souls, and I wish I could do more. Perhaps that is why my sire, perhaps that is why he wishes for me to become more talkable, so that I may provide help for the other clans, so that I can become better.
Well, if I may speak freely, because you are in fact older than I am, but I do believe that Josiah has seen your calling. I have had the pleasure of meeting a lot of people from different standings in different places, and I have met doctors or those who have studied medicine or even other knowledges, and these students, these people who wish to help or wish to learn, all of them, and I would like to include myself in this, they have a certain passion and a drive for for their interest. In your case, medicine. They, and if once they learn something, they want to learn more and they want to apply it to help the world or grow or make the world grow. That is something that, even though you have begun a different life, that is something, that drive is something that you can still use in the city as well. There is That is something to be truly proud of.
He nods at this. Yes, that sounds quite. This sounds like a reasonable explanation.
I, of course, do not know much of your clan or your sire or why he specifically chose you, but I think what I've learned from my sire is that they never pick lightheartedly. They always choose something. And I think if he tells you that it is because of this drive, because he thought that you could do more, could want more, then I think that there is a truth in that. But I've also found that my sire, and perhaps that goes for more than just my sire, can be not too straightforward in the way of explaining things, allowing us as fledglings to think on the words of our sires, to puzzle out what they mean or what they want, what they expect of us. In the end, most importantly, I think it is that we determine our own course. Of course, we should not just disobey our sire. I'm not saying that. I would not dare to. But it is your drive that made him choose you. So follow that. Follow that instinct. And if your instinct is to reach out to the city and help Canaanites or humans, then do that. And through that, you honor your sire's wishes.
He he smiles as you say that. Thank you, Lady Irene. You are very wise.
No, not really. Trust me. There are so many things I need to learn before I could even call myself wise. I hope to achieve that someday.
I believe that you will. You seem to be a person who has their head upon their shoulders straight.
I try
It
to be,
will,
yeah.
when it comes our time, we will be the ones to shape this city.
Mm. Eventually, yes, either this one or another. We will
He
make our way in the
nods.
world.
Yes, we shall. He goes to a small, uh, kind of a small little shop, and he purchases something. He thanks the gentleman, and he gives you. It looks like a. It is a kind of a gold, uh, kind of a pin that you would place upon. You can put it in your hair, or you can put it on your clothes. Kind of item. It is a flower. It is of a. Trying to remember. It looks like it's not a tulip. It's one of those kind of blooming ones. It kind of looks like a rose. It has small kind of reddish jewels, kind of rubies uh, embedded into it. And he says, "A gift for your help in this, Lady Irene."
I I thank you. She takes the pin and puts it on like her chest and pin it in her dress. It is incredibly beautiful. I feel I hardly deserve such a gift.
You deserve it, Lady Irene. Think of it as it is a gift from a friend to another friend.
You are very kind. Thank you.
And he says, "Shall we continue?"
Of course. Have you actually seen the bazaar before? You know its function?
I know this function, yes. I frequent the apothecaries, the places that sell ointments and various creams and liquids that can be used for healing.
Of course. And have you visited the she again will look around, make sure like no one's hearing it. Have you visited the Elysium yet?
Only once.
Me too.
And he smiles at that as the two of you uh, move throughout the bazaar again, looking at the sights, the sounds, the smells. He is he's like a child almost. He's experiencing things in different way, and perhaps he's just happy that there is someone with him to help him through this endeavor.
She just points out the shops that she likes to visit, which are mostly um you know blah, blah, blah. I lost a word. I suck at English. Fabrics. Like she loves to look at fabrics and just kind of lets her hand glide over some of them as they walk by, and will point out where some of the alleys are and how to actually um, you know actually find like the spots where you can like have dinner undisturbed.
And they will they will do that. They will uh, enjoy the company of the bazaar and themselves. And as the scene itself comes to its end, Adu will say to Irene, he will say to her, "I must return. There is much that I must write down these grand experiences that I have had tonight."
Of course, I will
Miss,
walk with you.
he nods at this. Miss Irene, if you are in need of, if you or those who are within your service are in need of healing and help, Adu will gladly assist.
Thank you, and likewise, if there is anything that I can do for you, you will only need to ask, and I will see what I can do.
He smiles and nods at this. Perhaps there will be a time for such things. And the two of you walk off together in a very heartwarming kind of scene. Irene, who felt for a time rather lonely, yet now she has not only her clan's affection, but she now has two other ones. She is growing, certainly, isn't she?
Baby steps. Yeah, I think that's the end of the scene. Thank you, ST, for STing. And watchers for watching. See you again.